These are very short questions and answers. I think this might be a tough one to start with, but if you're starting a consumer brand today, what's one financial principle that you wouldn't compromise on?
Cash flow management, hands down cash flow management. I think there could be other factors that could go into that, but no, cash flow management. Understanding everything about your business, the unit economics, revenues, forecasted revenues, track it on a daily basis, your ingoings, your outgoings, your margins, your efficiencies that can be had. That's super, super important. There have been a lot of companies, even mature companies, that have had cash flow issues and have gone out of business, right? So cash flow management is super important, non-negotiable.
What's one founder behavior that always signals long-term thinking for you?
Owner mindset. They treat external capital as if it was their own money, and therefore they are very prudent in how they spend it. Everything has an ROI or a KPI attached to that dollar. And that's super, super important for us. That means that they understand what they need to do with that money. And they really, at the best of times, stretch it out and they keep scrappy. And that's really important.
Very interesting you say that. And sorry, I shouldn't add any comments to this section. It's supposed to be very short, but I'm just going to leave you with a thought. Sometimes frugality it's perceived as being risk adverse and not always signals the right or it sends the right signal to investors. And I think there's very interesting research and debate about also gender balance and how women-led businesses that are more naturally risk adverse, I think in the way we run companies, it's being perceived by investors. But yeah, it's very interesting you said that. I think it's also probably a reflection of what's been happening in the market. But I'm glad you say it because I think sometimes it just the more frugal you are and the more careful you are, it's not about spend at all costs. Sometimes it's perceived that you're not growing enough, right? Or you
Yes.
don't have that velocity that investors usually expect. Speaking of that, what's the most counterintuitive thing you've learned in venture?
Failure in venture, i.e., backing contrarian visionaries and those businesses going south for whatever reason, is actually not to be perceived as a negative. I wear that as a badge of honor. The whole purpose of the VC ecosystem is to back contrarian thinking, people that are literally on the edge of what they're doing, trying to revolutionize a sector, an industry, a market, whatever it might be. And that comes with potential shortfalls. And if we're not trying to, as they say, hit a six here in the UK or a home run in the US, we're not doing our jobs right.